Sorry. All right, so let's get started. Again, if you guys haven't signed in, please sign in. It's really quick. For keyword, make sure you put that. Last time we got people putting their actual passwords, so just be careful, okay? So as you can see on the agenda, we have some quick service opportunity updates, program updates, and then we're gonna get into the topic of the meeting, which is the pre-med timeline. So yeah, if you guys, there's gonna be a sign in at the very end if you haven't gotten those yet. All right, so first up, fundraising.
Fundraising committee. Okay, so
Sorry? Your personal email? Yeah.
okay, so first and foremost, our application has closed. Unfortunately, sorry if you were not able to apply. We're best friends now, by the way.
I
But-
hate her.
No, she doesn't. We're not accepting any more applicants at this time. We are very sorry if you have not gotten the opportunity. We encourage you to apply next year. Our final decisions will come out over this weekend or sometime early next week. We are in the process of reviewing right now. So keep an eye out on your email if you have applied.
Yeah, October 11th is the date we are hoping for. But yeah, so since we are sitting on decisions soon, our first meeting for those who have applied, the first meeting will be either next week or the week after that, depending on everyone's availability. One important thing we're doing this year that's different is we're doing FC pictures. It's going to be business casual. You have to show up dressed in professionally in black or white. That's just our uniform, I guess.
Just for the first meeting.
Yeah, just
After
for the
that, you
first
can do
meeting.
whatever you want.
But yeah, as always, if you have any questions, you can email us, DM us on GroupMe or Instagram. We'll be available through anything really.
Any questions right now? Awesome.
All right, so actually, before we continue, I forgot one thing. I wanted to, if you guys received our email this morning, there's a new change in officers. So I wanted to introduce Ria as our new webmaster. Go ahead.
Is the mic working? I don't think I did.
Yeah.
Okay, hi guys, I'm Ria. I'm a junior and I major in psychology and I'm trying to minor in Spanish right now. For medical school, I hope to pursue psychiatry as of right now. So I've worked for the past 6 months as a behavior therapist for kids on the spectrum and also as a volunteer at Crisis Text Line. So if you guys have any questions about finding opportunities like those, you can come talk to me after the meeting or message me on GroupMe. And I'm really excited to be here for this year.
And Jessica, who was our previous webmaster, is now our VP external. So yeah. All right, service opportunities.
Okay, so we have 2 long-term service opportunities and 2 short-term ones. First off, we'll start with Incredible Fridays. This is a really great opportunity for you guys to get some experience with children who have special needs. It's basically like a program where parents drop off their kids who have special needs and their siblings, and then they go out and have like they can do whatever they want. They can have like a night to themselves. And so this is long term, but you can volunteer for as many or as little events as you like. All the dates are listed up there, and the link to the QR code is up there. When you go on that QR code, it's going to ask you like which dates you want to sign up for. It's not set in stone. So like, let's say you pick like, oh, I want to go on November 12th and December 10th. You don't, it's not like you're bound to that. So if you need to change it or if you want to be added or cancel your sign up, just email me and let me know. Again, you can just email the Molding Doctors email and I will respond to you. But yeah, this one's it's a fun opportunity. We'll just be doing things like hosting the kids' activities and yeah, making the event go as smoothly as possible. And also dinner is provided if that's an incentive for you. So yep.
Oh, sorry.
You're good.
Okay, and then the next long-term opportunity we have is the Reading Partners North Texas. We talked about this in our last meeting. This one is to help students who are at a lower reading level, and you basically just tutor them. And it's only a 1-hour commitment per week, I believe. And You can do it virtually or in person. So again, the sign up is up there, and you will receive an email from me asking whether you want to do it virtually or in person. And also remember that we have our training for that this Sunday. And that is a mandatory training. And so if you can't make it to that, don't worry about it. You can email me and we'll try to figure something out. Okay, so on to the short-term volunteer events. We have 2 this month, I believe. The first one is the St. Jude North Texas Bicycle Rally. And we'll just be setting up a hydration station for the bicyclists. And yeah, it's just one Saturday morning, 8 to 11. It's just if you want to like come hang out and support the people who are going to be biking for this cause, then that's there. And then lastly, we also have a health fair. So in the past, we've done other health fairs, which were unfortunately canceled due to COVID. But I was able to find this one, which is a really great opportunity if you're looking to get some clinical experience. So with this event, again, there is a training session, which is on Saturday at 2 p.m. And this one is an in-person training session. So the way this opportunity is going to work, it is an event that is to provide the community with free healthcare screenings, but also a health education event for kids. So the way it's going to work is for the 4 hours that you're there, 2 hours you'll be spending volunteering with the kids. You'll be doing stuff like talking about nutrition, like giving them advice on like exercise, stuff like that. And then the next 2 hours you will be doing the actual clinical portion, which is like you'll be taking people's blood glucose, you'll be taking their blood pressure, stuff like that. And it's going to be like whoever is doing the kids stuff in the first hour, they'll switch off. So if you're interested in that, that's there for you. I will say though, if you're unable to attend the training on that Saturday, you won't be able to do the clinical portion. So you'll just be volunteering with the kids for the full 4 hours. But yeah, also all this information will be posted. So if you missed something or if you didn't get the QR code, it'll be there for you. It's also being recorded. So yeah, sign up for the events if you can.
If you guys have specific questions regarding the volunteering events, you can come up to Rashali after the meeting.
Yep. Oh yeah, it'll be in the weekly update email as well, all the links and stuff.
Yeah, it should already be in today's email that was sent out this morning.
And it will also be on the websites.
All right, so on to program updates.
Hi guys, before we move on to this, just a quick hand raise, raise your hand if you guys went to the roundtable 2 Thursdays. Quite a few of us. So just as a recap, first of all, huge thanks to all of y'all that came out. Did you guys think it was pretty fun? We definitely did a lot of good conversation, and I think it's going to lead us to where we want to go and what we want to do with Molding Doctors in the coming semester. And so these are some of the things, like main points. There were a lot that we talked about, obviously, but some of the main points that we came down to was, especially for pre-med culture, making sure we create a work-life balance, figuring out what are your internal, external pressures and putting them together. Figuring out why you're doing pre-med is also very important. Reducing your student-to-student comparisons. That way, you're not always saying, oh, I could have done better because this person did better, but rather moving on to the 4th point, kind of focusing on yourself, right? Honing in on how can I be a better person rather than a better pre-med or pre-medical candidate. So yeah, just to make sure that all you guys got your MD points. For those of you who did come, just make sure that your points are in there. The points should be on the website to my understanding. So just go ahead and check that out, make sure it's in there.
Wait, also, before you continue, same with the service events. If you came to the Acing Autism or any other service events, please check that your name is on the website and your points got inputted, because some people went to the events and they're not even like a member yet. So also if you haven't paid dues, that's how you get your points. So please do that.
Yep, and then the next slide. All right, so moving on to roundtable 2. So just to kind of give you guys a gist of how it's going to work. I mean, not all of you guys came. It would be awesome to have you all come, but schedules and things like that. But it's kind of bleed into what we're going to do throughout the rest of the semester. What it's going to be is essentially like a big project that we're going to do. And we're gonna use kind of the conversation that we had during roundtable 1 and build off of that and try to make some tangible change at UTD and beyond. So obviously, if you're interested, the QR code's there, but kind of give you guys a gist of what's actually gonna happen in specific. So we've kind of broke it down into multiple issues, kind of mentioned in the previous slide. So we're gonna break up into teams to attack each specific issue. And there's more information in the forum and stuff like that, and we'll send out more information. But basically, we're gonna work throughout the semester to create some sort of solutions or have more conversation about these certain type of issues and problems. And then the cool thing that I want to do is actually kind of give you guys credit for the work that you guys put out. So throughout the semester, I mean, obviously we're going to be doing good work. We're going to try and gain a little bit of credibility and things like that. So thinking about at the end of the semester, having a banquet with our portfolios, making sure we track all the things that we do, and potentially having some high profile people come and hear this kind of stuff that we're doing and potentially implement it elsewhere. So if that's not an incentive, I don't know what else is, but it'll be fun. I think personal gratification will be fun too. I know we talked a lot about changing pre-med culture at UTD. This is the perfect opportunity to do it. So if you guys are interested in that by any means, please do reach out and join Roundtable. All right.
All right, and then a couple of updates about our mentor-mentee program. So I sent out emails to all of the mentors with their 2 mentees that they got assigned to them. And so like, I hope all of you mentors can reach out to your mentee by this Friday via I gave you all their phone number and email address if they provided that to me. So if y'all for any reason can't reach out to your mentee or anything like that, then just send me an email. I can try to figure that out for you. But do try to reach out to them by Friday and then fill out that quick little form that I sent out in the email as well. If you do sign up to be a mentor or a mentee from here on out, because the deadline was September 26th, just email me before filling out the form just so I can go back and look over your form and see if I can pair you with someone this semester or next semester, just because I'm not going to be checking that every day like I did before. And then for our mentors and mentees, we are hosting a social on next Wednesday on the 13th in one of the Galaxy rooms. It's Galaxy Room A. So that's the 2nd floor of the SU. And so we're gonna do a raffle for everyone that just attends the event, and then game snacks and then some information about the program. So if y'all do want to come to that, I sent out the form about whether or not you're gonna come in the email to all of our mentors and mentees. Yeah, that's it. Any questions about that? No? Okay, cool.
So before we get into that, a quick note about MD points. So again, like Shreyas or Rishali was saying, it is on our website, so you can always see your status and what events you've been to and how many MD points you've received. So if there's ever a discrepancy, always reach out to Ollie. He's our treasurer and in charge of our MD points. You can reach out to him on our email or on GroupMe. He wasn't able to come today because of work, but he told me to mention that there is going to be a deadline for October 15th. So usually we only give you MD points once you become a member, but if let's say you become a member today, all the events you've done in the past will still give you points for it. But after October 15th, if you become a member afterwards, and we won't be able to give you points for the prior events. So please make sure you're signing up to be a member right before that deadline, because it's a lot of work to backtrack and look through every single sign-in sheet. Okay, any questions about anything that we talked about so far? Whether it's programs, volunteering events, MD points. Okay, yes.
That is a good question. You don't have to fill it out to attend, but if you guys do fill it out, it will be a lot easier for me to kind of put you guys into what groups you guys want to be.
Yes.
That's a good question. We're aiming for next Thursday. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
Also like, so like for the, for some people, I can't go down you, miss this, but it's like, so like I was telling, about like the, you meant like sustainable development goals. And so like, I was, thinking like, to like implement, like, their goal is like, good health and well-being, and I think it's like a good opportunity for like, we have students here to like use like what the UN, like their staff that they have like gotten, and then like try to make like a, you know, a tangible difference or like a positive impact. So.
Yeah, we'll make those changes and those suggestions. All right. Okay, if you guys have any more questions, we'll please save it to the end. We're gonna get started with our timeline. All right, so before we get into the timeline, a couple of disclaimers. It is not an end all be all, you know, word for word, you have to do this, or, you know, you won't get in. This is not, you know, AAMC or us telling you, you know, exactly what you need to be doing. Of course, you know, every candidate is going to be different. And in fact, it's better that you're different. And instead of molding this timeline to the T. So again, don't make this your Bible, okay? By that, don't, you know, go word for word. So it's put together based on what most medical schools look for in a potential candidate for admissions. Again, these are just a guideline to make sure you're on the right track. I'm sure you've seen or heard or read a similar timeline, and we'll talk about those points and extra points really particular to UTD and our own experiences and how the decisions we made in those years. Okay. And then a quick COVID-19 update. So most of these are gonna be, or some of these are not gonna be applicable because of COVID. Obviously, if you're a junior or senior, you'll feel that the hardest because there was a gap where you couldn't shadow, volunteer, you couldn't really do anything. So, you know, medical schools obviously do know that. But now that things are, you know, kind of back in person, please, you know, definitely try. They're not gonna give you like a pass anymore. But regardless, if you still can't find anything, you know, that you like or that is convenient, don't, you know, be discouraged. There's always something you can do besides, you know, going out to do something. You can always, you know, learn more about medical schools, about your degree, about, you know, what dual degree if you want to do that. If you want to do the research track versus the business track, you know, there's all sorts of things you can do. And, you know, even at UTD, you can, you know, get your grades up, you can do all sorts of things. And this applies to even like freshmen, because most freshmen, you guys are, sometimes it's not easy to find those opportunities because you're still getting the hang of things. So this advice also applies to you. All right.
And adding on to that, there is a lot of pressure, or there is, but there isn't, when it comes to finding opportunities, because we were kind of like set back with having these opportunities. Just don't overwhelm yourself. Don't, you know, shadow 5 different positions and get into research and have 4 different leadership opportunities. Like, don't overwhelm yourself. Just do 1, 2, like do what you can handle. Just don't feel over pressured and overwhelmed.
All right, so just starting with your freshman year, your fall and spring semesters, these are just a couple of things that we recommend doing. So you want to meet your academic advisor and also your HPAC advisor. So it might seem a little early to go talk to HPAC, but I found, like, because I'm going to be applying next cycle, so I'm doing the HPE thing now. And it's been so helpful that I actually talked to my HPAC advisor every semester starting my freshman year. So she kind of knows who I am. And it's a lot easier to go through that process when they kind of can see your journey, and they can give you better advice if they actually know you rather than they meet you for the first time when they're assigned to you in HPE. And of course, like your academic advisor is the same way. Like you want to have a relationship with that person and you want to be able to ask them specific questions about your degree and make sure that you're on the right track rather than just trying to figure out everything on your own. Because when you're a freshman, you really don't understand how your degree plan works or how many credits you need for what. And they might like open up some opportunities for you that you didn't really realize. And you also want to get to know your upperclassmen because they can give you a lot of insight that you won't get from your advisors or your professors as far as like how to adjust to college, study habits, like when do you start studying for your MCAT, which I know is a question everyone has. And this is a great place to fit in with the MD mentor program, right? So that's a person that will be available to you to ask all these questions and to kind of have an idea of what you're getting into. And if you are interested in research, important if you are interested, this is not mandatory, this is if you want to do research. Some good ways to find those opportunities are to attend research fairs and to see if your professors are involved in research. Because a lot of times if you have a professor that's teaching you and they have a really good relationship with, then maybe you go to their office hours and you ask them about their research. And that's a lot more reliable way of, I guess, getting in touch with them than just cold emailing a bunch of professors that you don't know. And you also can find opportunities off campus, which is not something I was aware of when I was a freshman. But there's a lot of people, like even here among our board, that do research off campus and that are able to find maybe opportunities that are more suitable to them there. And you want to, of course, like maintain your grades. That's a given. You don't want to let that slip because it's much easier to maintain a good GPA than it is to bring your GPA back up once you have let that slip for a semester. And you want to attend all your pre-med events, but don't put a lot of pressure on yourself in the beginning, right? You want to get involved in college and get settled and make sure that you're set before you really start jumping in. But attending events is a good way to kind of figure out what opportunities are there so that you can choose to dive in later when you feel more prepared. And really important, definitely log all your hours of things that you've done. Because now I'm kind of preparing all of my stuff for my application and I realize like, how many hours a week did I do that thing last year? And I'm not like 100% sure, like I did keep track, but maybe not as detailed of a list as I should have. So this will help you a lot in the future if you just keep track of what you're doing, how many hours you're doing it, and maybe even just a brief reflection so that you can remember that when you're coming back to make your application and make your essays later.
So after your freshman year over the summer, I mean, summer is always a great time to do extracurricular activities, right? So look for volunteering opportunities. A lot of hospitals offer summer programs specifically for high school and college age volunteers. You could also just like email clinics and depends on whatever you want to do, right? Shadowing also, just email whatever doctors you find. A lot of doctors, you know, have no problem with somebody shadowing them, following them around, asking them questions. Working, see what kind of work you want to do. You know, you don't need much experience to be a scribe, but if you want to do something else, if you want to be a CNA, if you want to be an MA, if you want to be an EMT, look into the certification required for those things, look into opportunities, where you can work, all of that, research as Smriti mentioned, and then take summer classes. If you think, you know, if you're doing a major that might not align with the pre-med track perfectly, then you'll be having to take a lot more in different classes, right? So look into taking classes over the summer so you can lessen the load on yourself later on, and take a look at your degree plan. That's really important because you need to know how everything fits in, especially once you've had that experience of like 1 or 2 semesters. Now you know how things work. Now you know how many classes you personally are able to take every semester. So being able to like, you know, analyze that and then set yourself up for the next 3 or 4, however many years is very important.
Yeah, and sophomore year is a lot about trying to sort of grow yourself in terms of being a leader. Medical schools place a lot of emphasis on showing you have leadership skills or, you know, doing something in a leadership position. So any clubs or anything that you've joined in freshman year, now would be the time to try to get a leadership position in those. For example, a lot of us, well, obviously we're all officers in molding doctors, so that's our leadership position. Personally, I'm the news editor for the Mercury, so that's something that's my hobby that I've done since freshman year that I grew in. And they like to see a lot of, they like to see stuff that's not necessarily medical school based. So maybe something in something you like to do. A lot of people that I know really enjoy rock climbing, so they became the leader of their rock climbing club. So you can do literally anything. It doesn't have to be like medicine related, but yeah. Definitely start talking to your advisors more frequently. They have a lot of good insight on how to keep you on track, because sophomore year is crucial in terms of the fact that it's the one full year where you get to experience being pre-med sort of head first, because you have your leadership positions going on, you're in the crux of like all the hardest classes that you have. So there's a lot going on. And I spoke to my advisor a lot during that time, and she helped sort of guide me in terms of stuff I should do for volunteering, how I should round out my application and things like that while I still have time. Because in junior year, you're doing MCAT and things like that, and sort of things are starting to catch up to you. So sophomore year is a crucial time, starting from from fall semester. So yeah, and then there's a lot of medicine related stuff going on in sophomore year, but try to do something for yourself, whether that means taking a fun class. Like I know a lot of us took the last writers class, which is basically we got to write a biography for a hospice patient, or like a memoir for a hospice patient. And that was something that's, you know, medicine aligned, but doesn't really have anything to do with, you know, doing clinical stuff or anything like that. So take a fun class like that. If you're doing a major that's outside of something that's not science related, you know, take a fun class in that. Join clubs that have nothing to do with MD, like, you know, just sort of branch out so that you don't burn yourself out. And then, yeah, sophomore year is hard. OChem and physics, they're all, you know, coming at you at the same time, unless you've taken them earlier, I don't know. But for me, it was a really hard year. And that meant having
COVID.
And with COVID and having to do everything online, it was stressful. So managing your time and sort of making sure that you're focusing on getting, you know, A's in your classes, B's in your classes, keeping your GPA up. Because at the end of the day, you know, you can do a lot of extracurriculars, make yourself look really great, but if you're not performing well in your classes, then you're less likely to be considered as, you know, an MD candidate. So yeah, make sure that you're focusing on what you're in college for before you go out and do other stuff. But yeah. Yeah, so yeah, use tutoring resources. I know she is a peer tutor, so
Yes.
use
You
that.
need help with OChem or Gen Chem. I'm your person, and he's also an OChem tutor, right?
Yeah, and if you're in PLTL, highly recommend doing PLTL, especially for your core classes, because all of your professors, they give the material to those people that are teaching those classes. So they have exactly what you need to know for all of your classes. Yeah. And yeah, basically doing everything you're doing freshman year, but making sure that you're doing it with 110%.
All right, something else to add on to that, that fourth point. So just a quick story, my freshman year, as far as like the pre-med items that I did, I volunteered with Medical City of Plano and I came to MD meetings. That's literally all I did. I didn't know much about, I didn't take pre-med seriously. I claimed I was a pre-med, but I didn't know what to do, I guess, besides, you know, volunteering with the hospital and coming to these meetings. These meetings did like provide me like my medical like knowledge, and as well as like other meetings. But sophomore year, I realized, okay, you know, I'm behind. I needed to catch up. I need to know what it means to be a pre-med. So I talked to a lot of upperclassmen, and it really wasn't too late. I caught up, and this was actually my favorite year, not just because of OChem, but because of all sorts of factors. That's the year I became officer for Molding Doctors, and that's like I said, that's the year you truly feel like you're a pre-med, because even if I didn't have those experiences in freshman year, I'm sure a lot of people are still getting used to the idea of, transitioning from high school to college, and just kind of enjoying college a little bit, and, getting used to classes, the semester system, what midterms are, not having daily homework like you have in high school, and not having like people check up on you. So college is a very like drastic change. So it does take some time. That's why in sophomore year, I truly focused on like the pre-med side of like undergrad. And yeah, especially that fourth point and the last point on the freshman slide where it says jot down every single thing. So every little Saturday that you guys, volunteer with MD for those hours, make sure you're keeping track of the time, if you met anyone, if like what experiences you've received there. That I think is one of like my top 3 advice in all of this, because really it comes into play. Like Smithy was saying, whenever you're applying, every single experience counts. And the worst thing is you had a great experience, or you met someone like from a medical school, or that they, like a medical student, but you didn't jot it down or you forgot their advice, so write everything down.
I wanted to add to that. Even if like you're a sophomore right now and you feel like you're behind, or you're getting discouraged, or you're a junior right now and you feel like you're getting behind, or you're discouraged about not having enough to sort of pad your resume with, or not having enough experiences to feel like you're ready to go into medical school, or that you're ready to be, a good candidate. Don't feel that way, because I'm sure that what's going through your head is very different from what you've done and how much you've already accomplished. And there's still a long road ahead. Being a pre-med is not just like, oh, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this and I'm going to get to med school. If you have a well-rounded personality, if you've done things outside of medicine that you feel are important to your individual growth, and you think that that's something that medical schools would appreciate and would consider when they evaluate you, then that's something important. And that's something that you should put on your application, regardless of how many things you've achieved on the medical side. Now that's not to say that like, if you haven't done any volunteering or you haven't done anything at all, that you're gonna get into med school, but that's just to ease your minds. It's not as deep as you think it is. Like you're gonna do completely fine. You're gonna get to where you wanna be. This school has produced so many MDs, so you're definitely gonna be one of them if you put your best foot forward, so yeah.
And DOs.
Yes, and DOs.
And remember that you're not alone feeling like this. I bet you every person in this room is feeling overwhelmed or has felt overwhelmed at some point. I bet we've all had a mental breakdown last week. Just know you're not alone. So reach out to us, reach out to any person next to you. I mean, we're all going through the same exact thing. So.
Especially because a lot of us are taking our MCATs and we're all studying for it. So we're definitely feeling overwhelmed, but yeah, but that's another point. Sort of in your, I guess, spring semester into your summer semester, or your summer sort of sophomore year, ending sophomore year, you should start thinking about the MCAT. That could look very different for different people. If you want to take an MCAT course, if you think that learning through like a lecture-based thing, like going through reviews through a lecture-based thing is for you, then do that. If you want to buy like Kaplan, Princeton review books and sort of self-study, do that. But I would just start thinking about it early and find what works for you, because studying for the MCAT is a big hill to climb. And so, yeah, just make sure that you're putting some forethought into this exam, because it's definitely, it's not the easiest, exactly. So yeah, and for those of you who maybe want to take it in the end of sophomore year, I know a lot of people have, I know she has. And
It ruined my summer, but worth it.
yeah,
But it ruined my summer.
no, in hindsight, I feel like I should have taken it this past summer, so that my semester was free. But yeah, just depending on your coursework, you may or may not have completed biochem by the time you take your MCAT. So take that into consideration if you want to start studying early for that, because the reason I didn't take the MCAT this summer is because I'm taking biochem right now, which is like the regular timeline, but she decided to take it early, so.
Yeah, I'll explain why I did that. So basically, the reason I did take it at the end of like, I took it August. The reason I did that is because I did a Princeton course, so they covered biochem in that, and biochem that would be on the MCAT. Obviously, if I would have taken the course, it would have helped obviously a lot more. But I felt like Princeton did a pretty good job at covering it. So if you are going to take a course, I recommend Princeton. It is expensive, so take that into consideration, especially with a lot of other free resources online if you're not able to afford it. And just know that you don't necessarily have to spend thousands of dollars on the right program. It matters more what work you put into it. And then also getting into how I said it ruined my summer. It quite literally ruined my entire summer. From May to August, I was miserable day and night. So if you are planning on doing the same thing I did, I recommend taking 2 to 3 hours of your day just to do some like self-care and do something that you love. I definitely did not do that at first, which is why I got really like burned out and stressed. So I literally had like a full mental breakdown in like July, I think. I was like not improving in my scores. I was just super miserable. I was like, I hate pre-med. I want to drop this. This sucks. And so then I talked to a lot of older people. I actually talked to my sister-in-law. She's a lawyer. She's not in medicine, but like she also went through the same process with her LSAT in law school. So she kind of gave me a lot of tips on how to like prepare for tests like these. And obviously I talked to other like med school students right now, and they helped me through it. And that's when I kind of started doing more self-care. I really took into consideration their advice, and through that my scores improved a lot more. But yeah.
If you're studying for the MCAT during like a semester or something, focus on the MCAT. Like that's why I think that people should, get their volunteering and stuff like that, not out of the way, but have a solid sort of base in those things so that when it comes time to study for the MCAT, you aren't worrying about all these extra things that you have to.
You can kind of put it on the back burner for a
Exactly.
little bit, and then like once your MCAT's done, you can come back to it, you know? Like, I mean, I wouldn't say like completely quit it like altogether.
But you can take it easy.
You can like maybe reduce your hours a little bit, and then like when you're finished with the MCAT, increase it again.
And if you already have that relationship with the people you're volunteering with, like I did, like I told the people that I've been working with, hey, I'm taking my MCAT, I'm gonna need like a full 3 months with reduced hours. And they were very understanding because they already know me before. They know I'm a good person, I'm a good like volunteer, I'm a good worker there. So they were willing to give me the time off. If you build that relationship early, it kind of benefits you more as you like get busier and busier because they understand you.
So we're gonna have a meeting just on the MCAT. So don't worry if you have more questions or you're stressed out about it, okay? Next meeting, yeah, we're stressed here too. We're going through the same thing. Next meeting is gonna be a panel actually regarding the MCAT and the AMC. So if you have questions on that, you'll talk to panelists who have taken the MCAT or have applied. And other than that, we also have MCAT workshops where we go through it. Even if you're a freshman, we'll go through like every single basics, what MCAT stands for. We'll start from that and we'll work our way up, okay? So really it's fine. There are several options like YBV and like Nandika did. You can take biochem in the fall and the course in the summer. So we'll talk about all those options. But for now, we'll move on to junior year.
So junior year is when you really want to solidify that relationship with your advisor if you haven't done so already. That will make applying for the HPE process a whole lot easier if they already kind of know you, if they don't have to start from scratch. I did not do that, so don't make that mistake. And also the same thing with your professors. Junior year is also when you want to secure those letters from your professors. So if you build strong relationships with your professors as well, that will make asking them for letters later a whole lot easier. Stay in touch with your advisors for your college as well, for your degree plan. Make sure that you're on track to finish your degree. Make sure you have an outline for the coming semesters on what classes you want to take. And obviously those medical school prereqs are very important. You should be finished with Biochem 1 probably in the fall of junior year. You want to take the MCAT if you're going to be a traditional applicant in the junior year as well. It does really help if you study for the MCAT in the summer before. But if not, there's still time. You can take less credits during the fall if you didn't study before, and you can study then. Also, there are several different medical school programs. It's not just MD. So you have, for example, like MD versus DO. DO is like a doctor of osteopathic medicine, an up and coming profession, I think too.
Wait, real quick, raise your hand if you haven't heard the term DO before. Okay. Okay. All right. Continue.
MD, PhD as well is I think, more popular one. And there's several others. So along with that, you want to be familiar with the AMCAS, which is the medical school application program. And if you start thinking about your essays that you want to write earlier, you won't be so stressed out about it later in the spring semester. So you also want to join HPE. What does that stand for again?
Professions and
Yeah.
evaluation.
So that's through the HPAC. That will be really helpful for you to solidify your application for medical school, to get your advisors to know you better as well. And that will get you thinking about your essays, your personal statement, things like that. So for this year, the HPE opened, I think, October 1st, and those spots were filled within a week or two. So you want to apply as soon as you can and get your spot secured. And then, of course, you want to obtain all your letters of recommendations, which if you are in the HPE program, they will collect those for you.
Yeah, and even if it's full, just still reach out and see, what they can do for you. Don't
There's
be
a
like,
wait list.
yeah, just because it's full don't just give up and not contact your advisor.
So the summer of your junior year, traditionally you would be applying after you take the MCAT. If you're on a non-traditional pathway, you could you would be applying much later. Traditionally working on your secondary applications. You could also be working, volunteering, shadowing, researching. What I say for that one, just mainly stay involved, stay active. And then also summer classes, you could be doing all of the above. Just main point, stay involved. And then also your senior year for fall and spring, first and foremost, finish your degree. I know personally, I tend to put my bio major off to the side and just focus on like my pre-med, like the prereqs. So don't do that. Remember that you have like upper electives to do. Familiarize yourself with the application and the acceptance protocols. Prepare for and attend any interviews and med school campus visits. I do want to reiterate for joining the HPE. This will help you with the entire application process, all the way down to the brainstorming of your personal statement. But they have mock interviews, they have interview workshops, anything just to help you guide you through the entire process. Take care of your financial aid stuff. And then since it's your senior year, enjoy it, make some memories, and then lastly, graduate.
All right, so I'm going to be talking about gap years because I've taken several. So after you so to define what a gap year is, it's after you graduate and before you start medical school. Okay, so is anyone thinking about taking a gap year? Okay, All right, yeah, so it's actually very common these days, okay? So whatever myth or whatever you heard that, it's bad to take a gap year or medical schools will look down on you, or that's a year of, doctor pay out, don't listen to that, okay? If you're gonna do this, you have to do it right, right? And this is, you can't take a gap year in middle of medical school, okay? Or even, I'm not really, it's gonna be harder to take a gap year after once you get into medical school, essentially. So make sure you're taking a gap year right now. If that's, that's what you want to do. So a couple of reasons to take gap years, okay? If you don't feel your chances of getting into medical school are strong, and obviously talk to a lot of people, not just HPAC, not just your family or your close friend, talk to upperclassmen, talk to medical students, whoever you can, talk to them, say, here's my application, should I apply this year? Or if not, what should I do? Okay, if you want to have more experiences, let's say you've gone through all 4 years, but you never got the chance to volunteer, or well, hopefully that won't happen, but you never got the chance to research, or maybe you wanted to do study abroad, travel, etc. Any of those experiences that you want to experience before medical school are, like, let's say you want to do like a music minor and you never got the chance because you were doing a double degree, but now you want to add a semester of music lessons, anything, okay? As well as interest, and that's where travel is going to come. Any like passion projects you guys have, if you guys want to try out a different field, that would also be a reason. Obviously, financial reasons are also going to be a reason, because some people, not everyone is going to be able to afford certain out-of-state medical schools. Texas, unfortunately, is one of the better states. Obviously, it's not cheap, but it's a lot more, financially cheaper than other states. So we're in a very good state to go into medical school. And then if you just simply need a break, if you're mentally exhausted, studying nonstop for 8 semesters, and you don't want to go through another 8 semesters of studying or intensive academic rigor, you can simply take a break. That's a legitimate reason. And like when admissions committee asks you, don't just say, oh, I just wanted to sleep at home for a year. Obviously don't be like that. Or I just wanted to catch up on Netflix. No, you have to have some sort of reason to explain that break. And obviously even you're not going to be wanting to stay home for a year. You're going to find something that interests you, whether you want to work or whatever. And we'll talk about all the different reasons or options to take gap years. Okay, so one of the most popular ones is obviously working. You can work as a scribe, medical assistant. Medical assistant, I think, is the most popular one because you have a lot of experiences are built into that position. Even a medical receptionist is perfectly fine. You could scribe also, and of course you can work as an EMT. You can also research for a whole year. There are built-in programs for that, or you could do it, just if the research, the PI or the professors, and you want to research with them, you can also do it, on your own. And then other options, I think this is also very popular, is doing a post-bac, which is what I'm doing, and a master's. So masters are going to be 1 to 2 year programs, and it doesn't have to be medical related. It could be like regarding research, maybe public health, any of those other dual degree options we gave. Maybe in education and you want to get into medical education, that could also be a potential option. And if you just simply need more volunteering and shadowing opportunities, if you've gone through 4 years and you haven't ever shadowed a doctor and know what it's like, and you really want to observe a surgery or see what the patient interactions will be or how a free clinic will be, that is obviously a very valid reason to take a gap year. And if there's any internship programs, like, again, if there's a program in a different country, that is also very popular. And again, traveling is a fine reason, okay? Taking a break is very important. And again, as long as, you know, your 4 years are looking good and you want to take that break, and, you know, once you take that break, and obviously, you don't have to travel the entire year. You can travel like a month or two and spend the rest of your time. You can technically, well, not all of them, but you can do a mix of these options. Okay. All right. So before we get to that, do we need to go back to any slide? So if you guys have questions, we can go back to that slide and ask about it. Yes. We will post it. Yes. So this is recording on Zoom right now. We will post it on YouTube, in our email, and on our website. Okay. Any other questions? I know that was a lot of info. You guys are probably already thinking about scenarios on like, oh, I should be doing this. Why am I here? I need to be studying for my exam. I know there's a neuro exam and a physics exam tomorrow. So, you know, thank you guys for coming. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, you can always talk to one of us. And of course, you know, keep coming to meetings and it'll maybe answer some of your questions. Okay, anything else? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, question.
Yes.
Can you repeat that?
Yeah, we will.
Yeah, if you have any questions, they're all available.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about contact real quick?
Oh yeah, there's our contact information. Once again, if you guys need to get in touch with us, and that'll obviously be in our presentation. So if you guys need that later. Our Discord is a new thing that we've started this year. So if you guys haven't joined our Discord yet, there'll also be updates there. And of course, our group meet, that's always been where we post stuff, and contact us on Instagram. I also check those DMs.
Yeah, don't forget to sign in. Dues are $15, t-shirts are $10 right there. So if you haven't bought it, or if you want to buy it, you can look at them up there. And then we have a spreadsheet of you guys' MD points on moldingdoctors.com. So they'll be updated up there. You can go check to see whether we've been inputting them correctly or not, and let us know. And then our next MD meeting is October 28th.
Yeah, so it's right around Halloween time. So look out for any like Halloween social updates. Okay. All right. Well, thank you guys for coming. If you guys have questions,
Yeah. I
Yeah.
just want to add something real quick. For those of y'all who pay dues, make sure you guys fill out the form as well. I have a list of a couple of people who haven't done the form yet. I just went ahead and want to let you guys know. So if you guys have paid and want to make sure that you have signed up for the form or have signed up through the form, just let me know and I'll let you know. Cool.
Right.
That's, yeah, I got you.
You did. You said one more.
You already did it, so don't worry about it.
The membership.
It's, yeah, I got a list of 4 people.
That's one to like
Omar,
sign up for Molding Doctors.
Christopher and Richard.
all right.
Okay, bye everyone.
Thank you.
All right, thanks for coming. How was it?
I don't like public speaking very much, but it wasn't.
That's just you. She has questions.
Okay, where's the, Sheree, do you know where the email
Okay,
form is?
The what?
The email signing up to, we have the email list.
Oh, it's on our link tree.
It's on the- Are you on Instagram?
Do you have a question?
Yeah, I have a question about Ryan.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Hi.
Oh, hi, yeah. I can't recognize people without my
And then monthly, or not monthly, weekly, and then we'll run.
Yeah.
I have no idea what I'm
But yeah, I mean, what are you thinking? Damn, all right.
Because I joined MD late, I wasn't able to sign up for the mentor mentee. Is there still a chance I can sign up or? It's fine if I can't. I would
No,
just
so I think it's
So when I look at that timeline, the way I did it was I kind of compressed freshman and sophomore into last year. So like, and a little bit of sophomore, the MCAS stuff right now. So like that's kind of what I was doing because I planned on getting to graduate in 3 years, but obviously COVID kind of messed things up, so I didn't get to do as much stuff as I wanted to do last year. But I think that honestly, now that I've done the HPE, the format and everything, and I'm in the process, I think that like it's more important what you can write about your activities than how many raw hours. Because we obviously, with only 3 years, do not have the raw hours of stuff that people that are applying after 4 years, after staff years. I'm sure you have like god tier amount of stuff, like hours wise of this like application. So and we cannot match that in 3 years. It's just like not possible time wise. But like as long as you write about what you've experienced well, and as long as you show that you've had those experiences, I think that you can still build it pretty easily, even if you don't have like 1,000 hours. I mean, the HPE is going to help you. It's not like they abandon you to don't get into HPE. Like, they will still reach out to your advisor and still talk to them, and you can still get like advice from them. It's like I've been talking to them last year. They'll still obviously answer emails, you can still sign up for it with them, and they also have like very fast services where you can they'll collect your rec letters and send them to Textbook, which saves you the trouble of having to keep track of your 4 or 5 rec letters when you're actually